There's another aspect of Maya that we need to explore. So what I'll do is I'll go to Window, Hypergraph Hierarchy. Okay, just move that up and let's just see what's happening up here. Okay, so the first thing you notice in this black space is these little icons. Okay, now these icons are called nodes and they represent each of the objects in your scene, regardless of whether they're models, lights, cameras, whatever. Anything that is in your scene is represented in the hypergraph. So for example, if I click on these items, you'll notice that it selects the item that it's representing. So P cube 1, you can see the name there, P cylinder 1, cylinder 2, etc., etc. So if I select these in here, it selects the objects, and likewise if I select the object in the viewports, you can see that it highlights or selects the objects in the hypergraph. Now the hypergraph is important because sometimes we do certain things to objects, perhaps link them in animations or group them together, that isn't immediately recognizable in the display. So we need to look at the hypergraph to work out what's happening. And in the longer term, if there's any issues arising, it makes it easier to troubleshoot if we keep the hypergraph organized or at least frequently refer to it. Good idea not to use the default names because it's easier to work out what objects you're dealing with if the names are more specific. So for example, instead of P cube 1, I'll change this to tabletop. Now you can actually change the name either in the channel box by clicking in the input and putting table, for example, or maybe tabletop. So you can see that in the hypergraph as well, the name has changed. Or another way of changing the name is through the hypergraph. So if I right click on this node, say P cylinder 1, go down to rename, it opens up a rename node where you can type in the changed name. So I'll just call it table leg 1 and OK. Alright, so I've proceeded to change all the names of the table. So what I'm going to do now is select all the items. So whether you select them in the view or the hypergraph, it doesn't really matter at this point. So I'll just select them in the hypergraph. Now, zooming in and out on the hypergraph or moving around, again, it's the same navigation tools you have in your normal perspective or normal views. Okay, so you can tumble around, you can track, you can dolly. Again, you can do the same things here apart from tumbling, because obviously it's not a perspective view, it's only a 2D view. So I can use the scroll wheel, I can select an object and press F on the keyboard, which frames it. So all the navigation tools bar the tumble are the ones you're going to be using to navigate around the hypergraph. Okay, so I'll select all these objects, and what I'll do is I'll go Edit, Duplicate. So in fact what I've done is created another table set. So I'll just move this duplicate out of the way so you can see I've got a second table created here. So there's the nodes from the first table and the nodes of the second table. So what I'll do one more time is duplicate again and move table to the side. So I've got three sets of objects for the three tables. There's the first one, see the nodes in the hypergraph, second one, and third one.